The sun beat down on the back of Greg Barnes's neck. Sweat trickled down his spine. It was a typical hot day on Guam, March 30th, 2015, a day etched forever in Greg's memory. He had joined a group from his church for a hike near Pagat Cave. The trail wound through lush vegetation, the air thick with humidity. Greg relished the outdoors. Little did he know this hike would become a desperate fight for survival. Greg breathed deeply, the scent of damp earth filling his lungs. He felt invigorated by the physical challenge. This hike was supposed to be a chance to connect with nature and his faith. It was an opportunity to share stories and laughter with friends from his youth group. But fate, it seemed, had a different plan for Greg that day. A plan that would test his courage and push him to the very edge of his limits. Sam and Kyle, Greg's closest friends from the group, walked alongside him. Their easy banter filled the air as they navigated the rocky path. Sam, the oldest of the three, cracked jokes with a contagious laugh. Kyle, the quiet observer, offered a thoughtful comment now and then. Greg treasured their companionship. They were more than just friends. They were brothers in spirit. The trail started to descend, leading them closer to the coast. The roar of crashing waves grew louder, replacing the earlier sounds of the jungle. The air, too, took on a different quality, becoming heavy with salt spray. The group pressed on, eager to catch a glimpse of the ocean's fury. Little did they know, they were about to get far closer to it than they had imagined. The path opened up, revealing a breathtaking view. Towering cliffs rose up, meeting the ocean in a dramatic display of nature's power. Waves crashed against the rocks below, sending plumes of white spray high into the air. The three friends, mesmerized by the raw beauty, edged closer to the precipice. Sam, ever cautious, hung back a safe distance. But Greg and Kyle, drawn by a sense of adventure, crept closer to the edge. They wanted to feel the spray on their faces, to experience the full force of the ocean's energy. It was a dangerous game, but in that moment the thrill outweighed the risk. They were young, invincible in their minds, unaware that nature's power could so easily overwhelm them. Suddenly, a colossal wave, seemingly out of nowhere, surged towards the cliff. It was a monstrous wall of water, dwarfing all those that came before it. The sheer size and power of it were terrifying. Greg and Kyle, frozen in place by fear, could only watch in horror as it rose up before them. The wave crashed against the cliff with a deafening roar, engulfing Greg and Kyle in a torrent of white water. The force of the impact knocked them both off their feet. Sam, watching in disbelief, could only cry out their names as they disappeared beneath the churning foam. The world seemed to stop, the only sound the relentless pounding of the ocean against the rocks. Section 5. Adrift in the blue, Greg surfaced, gasping for air. His body tossed about like a rag doll in the turbulent water. Salt water stung his eyes, blinding him. Panic surged through him as he realized what had happened. He was no longer on solid ground, but at the mercy of the relentless ocean. He caught a glimpse of Kyle, also struggling to stay afloat amidst the churning waves. But the current was strong, pulling them further and further away from the safety of the shore. Fear, raw and primal, gripped Greg's heart. He was in a fight for his life, a fight he wasn't sure he could win. Section 6, fighting for air. Each wave that broke over him felt like a hammer blow, stealing his breath and dragging him further down. His limbs, heavy with exhaustion and fear, struggled to keep him afloat. The ocean seemed to stretch endlessly around him, an unforgiving wilderness. Greg coughed and sputtered, salt water burning his throat. He knew he couldn't give in to panic. He had to focus, had to conserve his energy if he wanted to survive. But the cold, relentless ocean seemed determined to swallow him whole. Section 7, alone in the vastness. As the adrenaline of the initial shock wore off, a chilling realization washed over Greg. He was alone. He couldn't see Kyle anymore, and the shoreline was nothing but a distant blur. The vastness of the ocean pressed down on him, amplifying his sense of isolation. The sun beat down on his face, and his throat felt as dry as sandpaper. Fear threatened to consume him, but a flicker of defiance sparked within him. He refused to be just another statistic, another victim claimed by the sea. He would fight, he would survive. Section 8. Hope and despair. Hours crawled by, each one an eternity. Greg fought against the current, desperately trying to stay afloat. Hope flared whenever he thought he spotted a boat in the distance, only to be crushed when it turned out to be nothing but his imagination. The setting sun painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, a beautiful spectacle that mocked his predicament. As darkness descended, bringing with it a biting cold, despair threatened to overwhelm him. Was he meant to die here, lost and alone in this watery wilderness? Section 9. Summoning the will. But a primal instinct, a deep-seated will to live, roared to life within him. He thought of his family, his friends, the life he was desperate to hold on to. He would not let the ocean defeat him. He would survive. He had to. Drawing on a hidden reserve of strength, Greg focused on staying afloat, conserving his energy for the long night ahead. He knew that rescue, if it came at all, wouldn't come until daylight. He had to make it through the night. Section 10. Never giving up. As darkness enveloped him completely and the vastness of the ocean stretched out before him, Greg clung to a single mantra: never give up. It became his lifeline, a beacon of hope in the face of despair. He would fight to see the sunrise. He would fight to feel the warmth of the sun on his skin again. He would fight to live. Greg's story, far from over, was just beginning. He had survived the first test of his ordeal, the first night lost at sea, but countless more challenges awaited him. His fight for survival, a testament to the indomitable spirit of man against nature's fury, had only just begun.